Previously on Fire Emblem Gaiden, Celica traverses the Rigel swamps, defeating the Cantor Dolph at his keep, finding passage through the Lost Treescape, a vast forest where she finds Halcyon, former leader of the Duma Faithful, who blesses Alm at Celica's request. Then she advances further north, entering the Tower of Duma, where she meets Jeddah of the Duma Faithful. He taunts her, using his crystal to show her Alm's struggles as he advances through western Rigel. Alm marches north towards Rigel, facing a force led by Shizas. The knights and snipers are aggressive, but the rest of his army takes a defensive stance, allowing for an easy time dealing with the knights. Then the paladins, as well as Shizas himself, a gold knight with high movement that is fortunately hampered by the forest terrain here, although he does have decent overall stats. Fortunately, magic is good against him. Alm then advances to the northeast, facing Myrmidons and witches led by Sizor. These units have no traveling penalties in the forest, so they will approach decently fast. I deal with the eastern group first, then fight the western group. Sizor likes to lead from the front. His high resistance and speed make him somewhat durable. Not like Alm cares, he just crits him. Only the western group is left. Alm marches west to Fier Mountain, facing the witch Marla and her force of knights, paladins and snipers. Marla herself has the strong but heavy Aura spell, and is capable of summoning witches. I don't let her though, warping Alm and one-rounding her on turn 1. I then send my army north. I want the paladins to be separated from the rest of the Sergeant force, while Alm solos many enemies on the north. I mount a defense along the mountains to handle the knights and snipers. Afterwards, I'm attacked by an army of witches, Arcanists and Myrmidons, my own units being separated. After that, I enter the shrine. As I go north, I fight against a group of Arcanists led by a Cantor. I then find a statue of Milla, promoting Forsyth to Knight and Python to Sniper. I then use the left lion head to give Claire plus free speed. I then go north, fighting against another army of witches, Arcanists and Myrmidons, finding Lionhead statues capable of revival. I return, then go east, fighting gargoyles, east again, fighting revenants and entombed, then I go north, fighting bonewalkers. I then go even further north, finding a chest, opening it from the side to avoid a trap, getting a speed ring. It heals 5 HP per turn, fixes speed to 40, and grants plus 5 movement. I give this one to Cliff. I then go back south, then west, fighting against a Cantor. I go downstairs, then through the eastern corridors, opening a chest containing a Blessed Bow, which heals 5 HP per turn and is effective against monsters, giving it to Tobin. Then I find a slab that says that out of the following chests, only one can be opened. I open the chest containing the Blessed Shield, which heals 5 HP per turn and grants plus 13 defense against monsters. I give this one to Silk. I then go further downstairs, opening a chest containing a Hexlock Shield. This protects its wielder from black magic by reducing its hit rate to 10%. I give this to Lucas. I exit the shrine, then Alm marches towards the north, facing the Arcanist Nuibaba. All enemies are inside the fort, being hard to approach. I send my mounted units ahead, intercepting gargoyles summoned by the Cantor. Nuibaba has the threatening Medusa spell. One hit will drop HP to 1, leaving them vulnerable to any other hit, since this game has a minimum of 1 damage always. I warp Alm in a somewhat risky gambit, defeating Nuibaba in 1 round, gaining the magic ring, which I later give to Lufier. Afterwards, I warp my snipers to help deal with the Arcanists, while Alm fights the other units. I then enter Nuibaba's abode, releasing a prisoner, Tatiana. She was imprisoned to keep General Zeke loyal to Rigel. Should he see her in safety, he might turn. Tatiana is a saint, a 5 movement class that casts magic, the promoted version of the cleric. She has good magic and resistance, with good growths in HP and defense of all things. Her starting spell list includes Nosferatu, 4 HP draining, Seraphim for monster effective damage, and Physic for ranged healing. She will also soon learn Fortify for global range healing of the entire army. That's impressive healing potential. Alm marches all the way to the west, facing a cavalry force led by Jerome. Since Tatiana is safe and sound, Zeke betrays Jerome, along with his own cavalry force. Jerome's men have the advantage though, so I warp Mathilda with the Rider's Bane and Alm to help. Jerome is quite strong and bulky, but magic is still a good answer, so I attack him with both Cliff and Lufier, defeating him. I then enter the Rigelian village. A man thanks us for saving General Zeke, even though we're Zophians. Another says that Jerome was a cruel man towards this village, which was saved by Zeke. Yet another says that the mountains ahead are home to necrodragons. A lady says that Zeke is amnesiac. He was found by Tatiana, wounded on the shore, and she nursed him back to health. I then talk to Zeke, who thanks us for saving Tatiana. Alm asks Zeke to join their cause due to disagreeing with his word, but he refuses due to his loyalty. Zeke, however, notices a mark on Alm's arm and decides to join as per orders of His Majesty. Zeke is a Gold Knight, a 9 movement class that wields lances, the promoted version of the Paladin. He starts with great stats, with good overall growths as well. This distinguished gentleman will be of great assistance, with his combination of great stats and high movement, ready to take most challenges ahead. Alm marches north, crossing the mountain range, but as he does so, a rock slide happens, leaving the army stranded there, having no option other than fighting necro-dragons. After 3 such encounters, Jeddah will taunt Celica, telling her to follow him if she wants to save Alm. Celica finds herself in a cave, Duma's altar, where Jeddah plans to sacrifice her to the wicked god. By this point, Alm's army is free of the rock slide and marches east, facing an army led by Magnus. A river splits both of our forces, so I warp Alm to the east, block the northern stairs with Matilda, while my northeastern force marches westward. After a long fight, I face the witch Hestia by warping Alm, then fight Magnus, being a naturally strong and bulky baron. He takes a while to go down, but it happens anyway. Alm then moves east, finding a secret shrine full of revenants and entombed, going north, finding a statue of Milla, promoting Cliff and Lufier to sages and Tobin to bow knight. I then use the right lion head to give Alm +5 defense, and go for a grinding session. By the end of it, I have promoted Silk to Saint, Mathilda to Gold Knight, Grey to Dread Fighter, Claire to Falcon Knight, and Lucas to Baron. Alm marches north, fighting an army led by Muller. His forces are split among 5 corridors. I warp Alm to the central corridor, dealing with the Arcanist, so I can get straight to Muller. He's got a bit of defense and some good strength, but he goes down in 2 rounds of combat. I also warp units to the other corridors, and they inch their way forward as they also approach the northern barons. Once this is over, Alm marches to Rigel Castle, finally facing King Rudolf, who sends his final orders to his army. If he is to fall in combat, they are to surrender to Alm. I warp Alm next to Rudolf, using his boat that he acquired as part of his promotion to deal with the nearby Arcanists, switching to his sword to deal with the barons. Despite having amazing stats overall, with incredible strength, speed and defense, Rudolf refuses to attack Alm, meaning Alm can take swings at Rudolf with impunity. With some help from Lufier, Alm finally lands the final blow, a critical hit. On his deathbed, he finally confesses he is Alm's father and tells his final wish for Alm to take the sword falchion, the one that sealed the goddess Milla, and defeat Duma, the wicked god. He drops the angel ring as well. I then enter the castle, finding who else but Mycen. Alm is naturally confused at what just happened. How could King Rudolf be his father? Mycen reminding him that he's the last Rigelian royal alive. Alm expresses regret having to fight his own father, with Mycen recounting Rudolf's plan. With the Valentian continent becoming too dependent of the 2 gods Milla and Duma, it lost itself. Rudolf decided to conduct a campaign of conquest, to paint himself a tyrant so heroes would rise against him, entrusting Mycen with his own son. Alm must now take falchion and slay Duma, with Mycen joining us as well. A shocking revelation has been unraveled. Alm is King Rudolf's son, and the last Rigelian monarch alive. As part of his dying wish, Rudolf asks of Alm to take the sealing blade falchion and seal Duma in it, just as he did Milla. Celica and her allies are in danger of being sacrificed to Duma, so Alm must make haste to take up this sword and free Valentia from the chains that bind it to the gods. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time, as Alm and Celica reunite and put an end to Jeddah's ambitions and seal the last god, Duma.